Hi there, welcome to Land Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Libra energy. And like usual, we're going to do 2 rows and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people are more aligned with their more high vibrational nature, being kind of more motivated, foundationally motivated and inspired by love, and some other people from kind of a core foundational level aren't motivated and inspired by love. It might be more the love of themselves or the love of things, but some people really don't freely give of themselves, and you can get hurt doing love. And some people somewhere along the way decided, I might enjoy relationships, but I'm not really going to do love. And Libra's air sign energy, and some people choose to, which is of the mind. Some people made the decision, regardless of what zodiac sun sign they are, we all tap into Libra energy to decide what we think is just and fair. And some people decided, I'm not doing love. And then the rest of us can want to stay in denial of the truth of that. You have to make the free will choice. I am willing to do love. I'm willing to. The bottom row can kind of represent our more egoic defensive nature. I am willing to get out of my more egoic defensive nature and have some hope and faith and belief in other people and in myself and in love. I'm willing to take that risk, take that leap of faith. And some people aren't. So there's some people in the world, they work through life struggles and they're moving forward in life a little differently. We all can deal with people who are kind of a little shadowy or extremely shadowy. And we can have a hard time wanting to see the truth of it. And eventually we can't stay in denial of the truth of it anymore. So maybe what's going on right now in Libra energy, where some people could be having a hard time seeing the truth about something about themselves, where they need to heal and grow and mature themselves, or other people in their life. Some people right now in the Two of Pentacles could be going back and forth. Other people, they got balance within themselves, and they accept I have this dualistic nature and I have free will. I choose to have more hope and faith and belief in myself. And some other people keep aligning maybe with their more worldly nature and themselves. If you're more defensive to love, but you want to be in relationships, it is kind of wanting to indulge in them. But if you don't really want to do love, you might hope to try to control the situation. Maybe use other things, like offering people things more of the world. Like, oh, do you want to be in a relationship? One of the things of the world I could offer someone is sex. I'll have sex with you. You want to stay in a relationship with me and get in a relationship with me because of sex? Or maybe I have these other things to offer of the world. Maybe I have social clout, status, image, money, power, attractiveness, whatever. You're looking to give someone something other than love. And the reason some people give something other than love is because they haven't learned these lessons. High vibe, the Emperor, would be that you have learned all these lessons in life. You're a very well-rounded individual, very balanced. And some people aren't, but they could try to present themselves like they are. And they could even want to get in relationships for looking like a boss in the world. In Libra energy of what we think is just and fair, what is just and fair? Is it has to be more about me? Well, then the Emperor can be male or female. It's just how you present yourself in the world. And the emotionally, internally aspect of the Emperor is the Empress, which is Libra and Taurus energy, which in shadow can be, I want to be in a relationship, but I want it to be more about me. I love myself, but I love myself so much I don't want to get hurt by love, so I'm not really going to do love. I indulge myself emotionally in my more immature nature because I'm afraid of being hurt. Or about money and materialism and status and ego and image and power and trying to control people. Let's go look at the bottom row. We start out with the card not showing itself, which can be shadowy people who are more about themselves, more about the world, try to control things in a relationship. Because if you're not being authentic and being truthful and being loving, you might try to create the illusion of being that so people will be in a relationship with you, and that's people trying to control things. One thing they don't want people to know has to do with this card. They've already been in relationships with people, and people who harness this card in a more high vibrational way, those people already left their life. Why? Because they don't harness this energy in a high vibe way, but they try to hide it from people. They actually harness it in a more shadowy way, but they don't want people to see it. What is it? The Seven of Cups, which is Scorpio energy, which is about willing to explore the mysteries of life emotionally. Well, it would start within ourself, which is kind of interesting because the Emperor is Aries energy, which is about the self. Some people aren't even interested in getting to know themselves emotionally. We have our more worldly focused nature. We also have our more emotionally intuitive, creative, inspired nature. And some people are like, I am more aligned with being more about my worldly nature. And the page can represent all three of the earth signs. We all tap into our earth sign energy, just like we tap into our Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, emotional water sign nature. We can either do that in a more high vibe way, a more worldly way, a more shadowy way. And in our earth sign energies of our Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus, we could be all in on making our life more about us or the world. We have free will, and I kind of view the sevens, and this is the Seven of Swords, as kind of the tipping point. You know, I'm either a little bit more, and Libra is represented by the scales of justice. I'm either tipped a little bit more in favor of being more about me and the world emotionally, which in shadow, Scorpio can be kind of being a little more superficial and shallow, or bossy or controlling or narcissistic. You know, there's a wide range. Or you're tipped more in favor of having more hope and faith and belief in yourself, and you decide to be a good leader to your more immature worldly nature to grow and heal and mature it into like adulthood. And some people don't do that. It's like, no, I reject my more deep, meaningful nature. And because of that, I might be more superficial and shallow, more about myself, maybe kind of more bossy or controlling, more about my ego, my image, my status. I am not tipped more in favor about getting to explore the mysteries of myself, of why I do what I do, because if I were, the truth sets us free. Other people work through their shadow nature, and the pentacle can mean the truth. And at the end of the story here, we have a death to the star. We have to quit making ourselves the center of our own universe in a shadowy way. It's not supposed to be. Shadowy Aquarius can be, we're full of ourselves. It has to be about me. Anytime I get in a relationship with people, everyone else could put aside their pride and ego. Not me. I indulge me. I'm more about me. Has to be more about me. Or the Aquarius star card can mean it's all about looking like a shining star in the world. I want people to like to look up to me and admire me or view me a certain way. Get in relationships, friendships, be in a certain profession so that people view me a certain way. You know, if you have to humble yourself. The Page of Pentacles can also mean being a student of life. Some people did this work within themselves to work through their shadowy nature, to quit being more about themselves, more about the ego, the image, how people perceive them, being more about themselves. Some of those kind of saw the truth of that maybe when they were between 5 and 8 years old. Some people never did. Some people quit making their life just more about them and thinking the universe was supposed to orient around them. And those people got out of being more egotistical and self centered and being more immature and shedding layers of their immaturity throughout their life. We do have to go through the process. In tarot, we have the pages, then we have the knights, then we have the kings and the queens, then we have the emperor and empress. Some people saw when they needed to detach, is what the death card can mean. We've all got growing up to do. I was 8, I was 15, I was 21, I was 25, I was 30, I was 35. We all go through stages and there's lessons to be learned. Some people went through those stages and they emotionally detached from a more immature phase of life. Why? Because they have a dream. And part of their dream was to keep growing and maturing themselves. I want to grow to my full potential. I want to become a person who's more well rounded, more mature, more just, more fair, more balanced, where I'm not wearing a false mask. That's also what the masculine cards can represent. Because anybody, and it can just represent that people are operating a little bit more from their egoic nature and their worldly nature. Because we can all present ourselves in the world any way we want, but how do we really think and feel? Down here, we have the Queen of Wands. That's Leo energy. Are we more inspired by our ego nature, competitive nature, prideful nature, fear, insecurity, lust, greed, all about ourselves? Or are we more aligned in high vibe Leo by hope and faith and belief and love? And we get out of our ego nature, put an end to being more about indulging our more immature, egotistical nature, to shed those old layers of ourselves, to be a student of life, because our dream is to keep growing up and maturing ourselves. And some people haven't learned some of the lessons some other people have learned. Some people never learned to get out of there more, being more full of themselves. Some of those people went so far, like we can all have pressure, kind of peer pressure in the world to kind of, oh, you got to quit being more like a 15-year-old. You shouldn't do that anymore. And part of the peer pressure that people of you use immature. And so then we kind of quit some of those ways of being. Hopefully over time we kind of see the truth of it. Right before the death card is the Four of Swords, which is Libra energy. Hopefully we kind of see the truth that, you're right. Some of those things were kind of immature, prideful, or egotistical, or whatever. And it is time to kind of shed. That reminds me of a Bible verse that says something along the lines that when I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. But as I grew up, basically, I put away my more childish ways of being. Some people saw the truth of it. You're right. If we're going to move forward, shadowy energy of our more egoic nature can be just our fear of change. That's up here, the Nine of Swords, which can be, I have fear. The Two of Pentacles can be, I have fear of picking up my investment in an old way of being and living life, to pick up my investment in that, to face my fears, work through my past pain and heartbreak, from the 5 to the 8 is the Three of Pentacles, and the Five of Pentacles, which is also Scorpio energy, I'd have to work through and see that kind of the things I am emotionally invested in doing right now really don't move my life forward. It kind of keeps me stuck repeating a pattern. And if I don't temper my ego and my fears or my insecurities or my more immature ways of being or something, there's going to be other people who are going to make a decision to move away from me. I need to see the truth of that. And that's in high vibe kind of Leo that I would have to quit. The difference again is the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups can be that there's this kind of an emotional foundation that we operate from. And we'd have to kind of quit indulging that emotional foundation, even though there could be things about it that we like and love, to kind of see the truth. It's time to pick up my investment in that way of being, to close out that chapter of my life. And we all went through those cycles of life at different periods in our life, right? We didn't get to keep being like a 15-year-old. We didn't get to keep being like an 18-year-old. We didn't get to keep being like just a 21-year-old. We didn't keep being just like a 25-year-old. We probably had people in our life who were, if nothing else, you're going to have to leave here, you know, get off the couch, get out of bed, go get a job, learn how to function in the world, learn how to take responsibility for yourself, maybe go get an education or go get a job. And then we work at places and we get in friendships and relationships, and some of those people are being loving and encouraging, hopefully. Some people in our life try to tempt us to keep being more immature and shadowy because they are, and they want to keep living their life like that. And we've all been there. We've all had people who are more bold and brave and confident than us that moved ahead of us in life when, we're all ready to move forward in life when we're ready. We have to work through these issues within ourselves, to face our fears, to get out of our ego. You know what? I think if I have a dream and I want that dream to come into reality, I do have to kind of quit like being a bad parent to myself and indulging myself. And even though I might have fear of doing things differently, if I don't, things aren't going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep repeating this pattern, and this will be my life like forever. And so I was saying, everybody might keep up with kind of certain stages of life to a degree because there's a lot of peer pressure in life to get people out and functioning on their own, right? And then once they're out and functioning on their own in a way where maybe they have a job and they're able to kind of maintain some type of stability in their life. Well, some people could get to that point and then it's like, oh my God, I'm done. Boy, my idea of the dream life is I want to get out to be able to be on my own some, have some money in my pocket, have some stability, get in a relationship, and I'm done. No more. No more. I don't want to keep healing and growing and maturing myself. Hell, I look like a boss. At what time in life are people going to say, oh my goodness, that's it. I'm there. I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Well, that's what I'm saying. Some people are just like, I want to get to this stage of life, have these type of certain things. I'm done. I'm good. Look at me, man. I look like I got it going on. And some other people are like, what? That was just part of the process. There's more beyond that. And some people are like, nope, I'm good. And other people aren't. And they keep moving on. And, it's just to see the truth. Everybody has their idea of the dream life. And we all could know some people where it seemed like they got to a certain stage of life and that's how they keep continuing to live their life. It can be kind of like having the emotional maturity of a 25-year-old. Never went beyond that. Nope. Nope. Don't plan to let go of anything. I like this. Because in order to move forward, you kind of have to see what needs to be let go of. Like, see what are the good building blocks to take with and what aren't such good building blocks to take with. And some people are like, I think I got it going on. I got justice in the world. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to get rid of anything. In tarot, kind of with the nines here, the nines talk about that we're getting close to completing a cycle. And if we are willing to work through that final issue that might kind of manipulate us, and high vibe energy, and like the Nine of Cups, is about offering yourself that cup of love to continue to keep believing in yourself and believing in your dreams and not give up on yourself. We as human beings have free will, and pride can come before the fall. When we think we're so smart, I don't have to see the truth about something that should probably be let go of. Other people can. And other people could be thinking, you're right, you don't have to let go of that, but if you don't, I'm leaving or I'm firing you, or I'm not hiring you for this job, And it's like, oh, but then I'd have to become independent of that. And the truth sets you free. People can try to fake it, just like people can try to fake that they have more job qualifications than they have for a job. Well, you might be able to get away with it for quite a while, but eventually the truth comes out. And some people who maybe could be more about themselves, more bossy, controlling, immature, self-centered, egotistical, materialistically driven, they can all try to stop the world from seeing their truth. And that's like shadowy Scorpio. I'm going to try to shove, which anybody can have that, right? I'm going to try to suppress that underneath the surface, because I probably already had other people who didn't want to stay in a relationship with me because they found out I have some of these shadowy ways of being. So then they go out in the world trying to suppress that beneath the surface. But that's like living a fake life, right? Their truth is they want to live where they don't have to do that. I really want to shine my light and live my truth. And the truth is I am more about me, and I am more bossy and controlling and immature, and I am more about ego and image or money and materialism. You can only kind of keep it suppressed for so long and live like a fake life, or until other people that are in relationship with you are kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't really seem to be, there's something, high vibe energy again can be being more connected in with your emotions and your intuition and your creative inspired nature, which part of that is you were given your intuition more than just our mind. Everything can look good. It's like, damn, what is it? You go for a job interview, you meet some people, you're in a friendship group, you're dating someone, and it's like, partly in your Libra energy is like, oh damn, it looks like I can put behind some of this other stuff. Oh my god, this looks like a dream come true. But there's something that tells you, I don't know, something just doesn't seem right, but we have free will to listen to our intuition, and then we can say, wait a minute. It's kind of like the Page of Swords, kind of being not harsh, but wait. I don't know if I want to keep moving forward with this, because, we might communicate that in the Five of Cups, we could feel like, which the Five of Cups can be shadowy Scorpio, And the other people could harness a more high vibrational Scorpio energy where they are more connected in with their emotions and their intuition and like to have more deep, meaningful relationships. And, though everything can seem good, everybody seems to be loving, encouraging, and supportive. I don't know, there's something that tells me that it just doesn't seem to really be the truth of who you are. People who are authentically motivated and inspired by love. It doesn't mean you have to be ooey and gooey with everyone in the world. But when you're in relationship with the people that you are in relationship with, you authentically love them. And love freely gives of itself. It's not like trying to manipulate someone or trying to control someone or, and being more immature, hopefully, if you've learned some lessons in life. You're offering people to work together with them from a foundation of love to see the truth to free ourselves even from the past, work through our fears, our insecurities, our self-limiting beliefs, people and jobs and situations that we've been in where we all had growing and maturing to do at different times in our life, and some things didn't work out the way we wanted and some things weren't good fits. But we have this dream. Let's work through some of those issues together. Be loving and encouraging, and in high vibe, the Page of Swords can represent all three of the air signs, Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. The Nine of Swords is Aquarius, or is Gemini. The Star is Aquarius. Four Swords is Libra, which can be there too. But Gemini kind of represents our dualistic free will nature. Sometimes we've been in relationships with people, and in their Gemini free will nature, they still have some growing and maturing to do, or purposely don't want to grow and mature themselves, and are just bossy and controlling and more about themselves type of people. To see the truth of it, to work through those regrets of the past, to love ourselves enough to not let things from our past. We offer love and compassion and forgiveness. In high vibe, the pentacle is love and truth. I offer truth and love and compassion, forgiveness, and Aries energies about the self. I offer it to myself. I've had healing and growing and maturing to do. I've been more immature and drove my life off into the ditch because I had lessons to learn. And then I've dealt with other fallible human beings that could have been older, younger, my age, and they were all at their maturity level and had their way of viewing life. Some of them were more manipulated by their ego and fear and the world, with the Ace of Pentacles, kind of like the Page of Pentacles there. But in their Gemini nature, they didn't maybe invest in themselves to heal and grow and mature themselves. And they could have always just operated more from their worldly egoic nature. And they thought that was just and fair. And they maybe really didn't live the life that they wanted to live, or live their more authentic life, or ever become independent of things or people or the world or their ego that manipulated them. And so everybody has the free will choice to work through these issues to free themselves from things that manipulate them so they don't let go of their dreams and let shadowy ways of being in their life or other shadowy people they've dealt with stop them and manipulate them and make them not know if they deserve it, not know if they're lovable, kind of taking it all personally. Oh, I had shadowy people in my life. They said they didn't love me, so I must not be lovable. Well, maybe those people just didn't really learn how to love. Maybe those people were doing the best they could do based on life experiences they've had. There comes a point in time again where we need to learn to be like our own best mother, father, coach voice in our own head. And again, I mentioned if somebody works through these things, the counterpart to presenting yourself as an emperor in the world, which Aries, that's Aries, which is on the opposite side of the zodiac wheel from Libra, and life's about kind of getting balanced within yourself, because when we're balanced, just like in the Chariot card, which the difference between the 5 and the 8 of Cups is the 3 of Cups, which is Cancer energy, which is also represented by the Chariot. We move forward victoriously and successfully the more balanced we are versus being more tipped out of balance, where, it's like trying to take a tire off your car. And those tires can represent the 4 aspects of the zodiac signs: water, earth, fire, well, whatever they are, you know what they are. And some people, the only water sign energy we have down here is shadowy Scorpio, which can be, I made the free will decision to not be inspired to heal, to not deal with the truth, to not invest in myself, to not love myself, not believe in myself, believe in my dreams, or maybe just feel like I am an emotionally complex human being. I found it confusing, and I gave up on that. And I decided I really don't want to invest in that aspect of myself because I find it confusing. Just like some people could be, I might have my own unique talent, skills, and interests. Um, Maybe I don't want to invest in my own because I don't think they're very important, or I don't think other people would care for it. So I might invest in what other people think. It's like it's like going to college for the wrong job, right? I love music, but no, I'm not going to invest in my dream skill level things. I'm going to go invest in things that'll make me look like a boss in the world. And that, so we get more manipulated by the world and our ego. We've been dealing with other people in the world who have their own issues. And if we don't see the truth of it and work through it, we're going to let the past keep manipulating us, just like the past could manipulate other people. Let the world manipulate us. Let shadowy, hurtful people in the world manipulate us. Or we say, I'm going to love myself. And I do think my emotions, that's high vibe emperor again. All 4 elements are important. And that's what the emperor learns. I can't ignore my emotional nature. I can't ignore the importance of what it means to be more balanced within myself. And like I mentioned, Libra, all the air sign energies are offset on the zodiac wheel from the fire sign energies. Well, the fire sign energy is our more creative, inspired nature. Some people maybe didn't want to invest in themselves emotionally. So they kind of keep their emotional nature kind of immature. Other people get to know themselves, work through some of their fears and insecurities. They're emotionally more balanced and more mature. The water signs are offset by the earth signs on the zodiac wheel. If people do more work to be in their air sign energy and their fire sign energy to get more balanced, there are these things of the world that I want to invest in. That's fire sign energy. I'm like inspired. But I don't want to do what just seems logical and practical and live more from my mind than my heart. That's not my idea of the dream life, because I do have my creative, passionate nature. Yes, I do want those things of the world, but that's not the end all be all. I want balance. So, in my air sign and my fire sign energy, I have to acknowledge that if I want a more balanced life. And then in my emotional and my worldly nature, I also have to be practical and grounded to maintain balance within myself And that's when I really am on my way to having the dream life, because I got balance within myself. I realized I could have all these things in the world. And what if, again, like having a job that you're not passionate about, kind of that you like and enjoy, and you have a job that might make you look like a boss in the world somehow, and you hate going there every day, like, oh my God, I hate this job. I would really like to quit this job, but I keep doing it because of the status, the ego, the image, right? Well, at what time do we quit doing that in our life? But the same way, people can be, I don't think I really got to connect in with, grow and mature myself emotionally. I kind of think I can use that superficially. And then you, or get in relationships with people you don't love. Oh my God. Hanging around people you really don't care for, but because they have a certain status or image, or because you want to be in a relationship, blah, blah, you stay in it. But it's like, oh my God, I really don't want to hang out with these people. Oh my God, but I keep doing it. You know? At what point is like, oh my God, I need more balance in my life? Sometimes we don't have people around us at a given time. Sometimes, depending on where you live, whatever, just the way things are, we can go through seasons of life where it kind of seems like, you know, spring, summer, winter, or fall. And sometimes we can go through seasons of life where it seems pretty dead. And it's like, oh my gosh. And we can get all caught up in our head. And instead of continuing to stand and defend our truth and maintaining balance within ourselves and making good decisions in our life, it's kind of like, okay, maybe I should go do that. And we go repeat an old pattern. There are these seasons of life, and sometimes we're in a situation, you know, even where people could be living, and there's not anybody in the environment, say, that somebody finds to be someone they want to get in a more involved relationship with or a friendship with. Well, there are other things we could invest our time, energy, and effort into. Life is about balance. And maybe if there's not some people in our life for us to have that relationship, even though it might have us stressed out and we feel it's very out of balance, maybe not having some of those things in our life right now is an opportunity for us to invest in not focusing so much on that aspect, because there's a lot of things you could kind of look at. The 10 of Pentacles or the 10 of Cups is like our dream, but there's 10 Pentacles, there's 10 Cups. It's not all like, I need a certain income, I need a certain status, I need a best friend, I need a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You know, there's other things that make up that 10 of Cups and that 10 of Pentacles, but they're at different times in our life. We could have more things that are more important. Just like at some time, some people aren't really even doing the friendships and romantic relationships because they feel the most priority in their life at that time, at whatever stage of life people could have been in, is to focus on their career. And then there could be people in their environment that are kind of the opposite. Like, I don't feel like I got to put that much work and effort and be focused on it to that extreme. I may be a little more balanced, and I would really like to be more in a friendship or romantic relationship. But other people are kind of off learning these lessons. Kind of, it is kind of about going to these extremes and kind of realizing how we need more balance in our life. And you could feel more tipped and wanting to kind of go to extremes in one way. Other people could be kind of tipped in extremes going in a different way. And it can be a season of life where we learn to maintain this balance within ourselves and to be patient and to love ourselves and not go repeat some poor past patterns, keep maintaining balance. Is kind of like, again, going through the fall or winter season of our life. There, and then maybe people will kind of be on the same page at some point in time. And then things will change in the world, and maybe you'll relocate or move jobs or, kind of work through those things. We can't, sometimes we have to make some hard decisions. Maybe I do need to move. Maybe I do need to change my job. Maybe I need to quit making certain things so important in my life that it keeps my life tipped out of balance. I need to learn to how to have more balance in my life, even when some of those things that I want in my life aren't in my life. Sometimes we can be in friendships and relationships with people, and we kind of could be drawn and attracted to each other. Probably, some other job, friendship, or relationship didn't work out, right? That can be this and this. I wanted to manifest a new beginning with someone. That dream didn't come into reality. I've got to move on. I've got to let that dream go. I can't make other people, if just like I could have people that I've been in friendship and relationship, or I could know people I want to get more involved in friendship or relationship with, and just like people can want that with me at different times in my life, and just like I could say to some people, it's like, I'm kind of good. you know, Other people can say that to me, and we've all kind of got to get out of our ego, not be manipulated by our ego. That it's not just all about me, and everybody I want to be in friendship or relationship with doesn't want to keep staying in friendship or relationship with me. Just like I have felt that way towards other people. Trying to put it, that's Aquarius energy. Put things in perspective. Look at life from a higher perspective. And there too, how I want to move forward, how I want to live my life, things I enjoy investing my time, energy, and effort into, what other people like to invest their time, energy, and effort into, what their idea of the dream life is, can be different. Sometimes I don't know what theirs is, and I could have thought that they would be on the same page as me, and I might have communicated my truth, and they know their truth isn't my truth, isn't their truth, right? So, the people who are free and able to invest themselves with people, and they are more on the same page, they would. Sometimes some people, it's like, oh shit, gee, I'd really like to stop where I'm at, or some of the people I'm hanging out with. I would love to come with you, but I'm really fearful of picking up my investment in whatever I'm invested in. And for some people, that can be, I really don't, I lack confidence in myself. I'm tipped out of balance. I kind of operate more for my ego or my fear. I might kind of look like a more stable, grounded, balanced boss in the world in some way, but really I'm kind of tipped out of balance. And it could just be because relationships or friendships or things that didn't work out in their life, either recently or in the past, and they're still kind of trying to process it and work through it. But there too, we can have people, some people have people in their life, maybe some of those people wouldn't like it if they were to become more independent of them. And the pages can represent that some people are kind of codependent on people. And it's like, well, I think if I were to be more independent and do what I really would like to do in my life in high vibe energy, not trying to hurt anyone, not trying to be selfish or self indulgent, I would like to live my more authentic life and be respected as my own individual. That some of the things or people that I want to be in relationship with might not be some of the things that other people in my life want to do, or they might not even like some of those people. Well, don't we have people in our life that we kind of wonder why they do what they do and why they hang out with people they hang out with? We wouldn't. Well, that's life, right? You're your own person, I'm my own person. But some people might have some shadowy people in their life who, if you do that, that's it. And some of those, I don't know, kind of a friendship or relationship where, what if you get in a friendship with someone, they've had a falling out with someone, you maybe work with that person or know that person, you don't mind that person. Well, you could have another friend. Well, I would kind of feel betrayed. Well, why can't I have more than one friend? You might have had a falling out with that person, and maybe I don't know the truth of that person. Maybe I will end up not liking that person too. I don't know, but so far, they haven't done anything to me. You might have had a falling out. And if I know, but I don't maybe know the whole story and I don't know what all went on, you can understand how some of those things could happen. Sometimes we can have just a friend who's like, if you, or there are two people can have even just, I don't know, sometimes some people are really like, I would never do that. But look at the things people in the world won't do. I would never show my wrists. I would never show my ankles. I would never show my hair. Some like religions you can't dance. Other religions dance. Um, uh, I don't know why rodeo comes in my head. I would never go to a rodeo. I mean, we could have some people in our life. If you start doing any of those things, or maybe some people like, so caught up in their ego and their image. Sometimes people can do a lot of things behind closed doors, but they won't go do it like the people who might drink every night at home, but they would never go to the local bar. Oh, those people are awful. And, that's kind of how they kind of build a false self-esteem about themselves. Like we're so much better than them, but then eventually they become alcoholics at home and people are like, an alcoholic? I never saw that person drink in their life. How about a little more balance? I can go out to the bar and have a beer and a pizza, and I'm not an atrocious human being, So different strokes for different folks. But some people just have people in their life, whether it's their friend group or their family group, and they could really like kind of controlling people. And if some people were to become more independent, they could have this fear that some of those people like kind of weren't given the time of day anymore. Well, you're not letting me manipulate and control you. You're not making me the most important person in your life or us the most important people in your life. And some people really have a fear of being more independent. Other people see it. It's like I kind of see that either these things within you not wanting to do love because you're afraid of being hurt, maybe because other people hurt you. Well, I'm not that person, but if you're not willing to connect in more with your intuitions and see the difference between people, or that people can heal and grow and mature over time, to listen to your intuition if people really have or haven't, who seems to be more just, fair, truthful, authentic, loving, even if at some point in time neither of those people or some of those people were. Would we like to reconnect with some people? Maybe some other people would be against that. Blah, blah, blah. There are some people that don't even want to get more balanced within themselves. Some people don't. I don't even want to do a deep, meaningful relationship. And so they're not investing in people who are more independent of living from their maybe more self-protected defensive nature, or aren't making things about the world or things that people like to indulge in the primary focus in their life. But for some other people, that is the primary focus in their life. And if people aren't on that same page and willing to indulge them that way and going to make those things the priority in their life, then they're willing to let those people go. And they'll go find someone else to invest in who isn't inspired to do life differently, just like they're not inspired to do life differently. And sometimes we can have a really hard time accepting that truth about some people in our life. The truth sets us free. Who are the people who seem to be more about themselves? Who, when a card is in reverse, it can mean extremes. People who are caught up in the illusion of themselves, caught up in the illusion of the world, never work through all the different things in their life that have maybe manipulated them and their own fear, and caught up in so much in their ego, and have this way of viewing life that, got to be practical and grounded. It's more about these things of the world, or more about me. That idea of being more independent of the world or of your ego or believing in love, that's all fantasy land. For people in the world who they do live more from their mind than their heart, it's all like a mental strategy. Everybody wants to have a certain status and image in the world. Everyone wants to be viewed maybe a certain way and would like to be in friendship and relationship. And that it is all a game of manipulation. That can be how some people really, that is their truth, and that is how they view the world. And they could think people who have more hope and faith and belief in love, or even think they have more to work with in this world than just the things of the world, because that can be like shadowy energy. I've got to work with these things of the world. I am not inspired to listen to my intuition. I do not believe that there's anything more to work with in this world than the things of the world. So that can be people who reject their more creative, inspired, intuitive nature. you know, they're not going to create probably anything new, and maybe aren't inspired to shine their authentic light in the world. We've all been given our own unique talent, skills, and interests. Some people could be afraid that other people wouldn't like it again. So shadowy energy can be about conforming to the world. I don't shine my authentic light, just like I don't let my more authentic, loving, hopeful, believing nature out in the world, because they could get hurt. I'm not willing to take a risk of people seeing the real me. I'd have to become independent of my more fearful nature, my codependent nature, my being manipulated by the past, to be someone who lives my more authentic life, and not in a harsh way, but speaks my truth. And I am more independent. And the truth is, I want more justice, fairness, and balance in my life. And I'm not going to keep letting my own shadow nature or the world at large or other people in my life try to make me not live my more authentic life. I let them live their life and hang out and do and whatever they want. I'm not trying to maybe manipulate and control them, but those people could maybe try to manipulate and control me. That's not just and fair. And that's why some people leave some job, friendships, or relationships. You're not inspired to be more independent. You're not more inspired to do love. You're not more inspired to get out of your head and get more balance within yourself and kind of go with the flow. You have your idea of the dream life, and that's different than my idea of the dream life. So high vibe people see the truth of it and they offer love to the situation. Your truth is different than my truth. What you think is just and fair is different. What motivates and inspires you is different. You have the free will to live your life whatever way you want. I can't do this. And I've probably offered you truth and love to work with me, to move forward with me. And apparently that's not your truth. Yeah. Does it get me in my ego? Does it make me maybe feel like some of my dreams aren't going to come into reality? Yeah. But my dream can only come into reality with people who are motivated and inspired by the same truth I am. And I have to work through that that's not your truth. So then my dream could never come into reality with you anyway. And I do need to pick up my investment in you. Because apparently, I'm looking for the people who are more hopeful and believing, or do want to do more deep, meaningful relationships, or are less manipulated by their ego or by other people, or their immature nature, or their self-protective defensive nature. And I am going to make that decision to stand up for my truth and out of love for myself. I wish you peace, and love is what helps the high vibe people work through those issues to be able to move forward. Some other people were never able to work through the fact that some people in their life, whether it was moms, dads, brothers, sister, friend, neighborhood, or romantic interest, they keep kind of staying in their ego. And it's kind of, some of them are like, no, it has to be that person. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be that person. It has to be someone who's more on the same page as you at this present time. Because some of the people who aren't on the same page as you now, they may never free themselves. They may keep, it's kind of like the shadowy energy represented by the devil, our own shadow nature. The devil gets a hold of you. It can be really hard to free yourself. And for those of you where the devil kind of got a stranglehold on you, you know what I mean. And sometimes the devil is working on the people that we were in relationship with because they were trying to stop you. You were the target to begin with. You were the one who had the potential to offer love and encouragement for people to give birth to something new, which at the big picture is what God wants to give birth to. Something new. People loving and believing in themselves and freeing themselves. And the devil could have wanted to stop you, but the devil couldn't stop you. So the devil worked on people in your life that you love. Two birds with one stone. Or 3 or 5 or 8 or 10. However many. High vibe energy is being a good leader. I wish you peace and love. But I am going to stand up for my truth. I think there is something here that is not just, is not fair, is not acting with character and integrity. There's not equal give and take. People want us to indulge them in poor behavior. I can understand if you're younger, you're going to have to go through some hard times just like the rest of us did to learn some of these lessons. Some of those people are our own age or older, and they're still acting that way. No. I can treat you with respect the same way I treat anybody that I meet out in the world. Am I going to keep trying to heal a relationship with you if I've already tried that over and over and you keep choosing to do what you do? I think I need to see the truth that you don't have an interest in trying to heal this relationship. I keep trying to heal it. You keep not. You keep repeating old patterns. I don't. And there gets a point where you wish them peace. And I'm going to kind of pick up my investment in you and move on. Invest more of my time, energy, and effort into people who don't act that way. Those people will kind of be in their ego that you're not willing to keep putting work and effort into it. And either they can see the truth of why you're not. Some of them will be like, The more egotistical and immature they are, the more they think you should keep indulging them. Oh, screw you. If you're not think they're important and not worth indulging, they'll find some other people who will. And some of them will never grow up. Some of those people could know that you love them, but you're standing up for yourself and you're not going to keep indulging them, and they can go hang out with whoever they want. Some of those people will be in their ego that you've healed and you weren't willing to put up with a more shadowy friendship or relationship dynamic. You weren't going to dim your own truth. When it gets to be you have to compromise your own truth to such a degree, like kind of putting up with immature or abusive people who keep doing it. It's like, I'm done. Those people could know that you love them, but you stood up for yourself. They might wonder how you did it. Probably too proud to ask. So they keep doing what they keep doing, maybe to feel better or be full of themselves. Who knows? What's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Libra energy that they might not see coming? People who've worked through some regrets of the past, seen where they weren't on the same page as some people that they could have had love for and had love for them. They're going to invest in the people, if those are the people currently in their life, people they haven't been investing in, or people that they meet moving forward. They want to invest their time, energy, and effort more into the people who they think do work together with them in a more just, fair, balanced, authentic, and loving way. What they don't see coming is the High Priestess. Why? Because of this card not showing itself. Well, that would be kind of growing and maturing yourself more. Because above the Emperor and the Empress is the Hierophant and the High Priestess. And that is really walking the talk. And again, high vibe, you're either kind of a good leader and role model in the world, or you're kind of a poor leader and role model in the world. If you're an Empress internally, then you're a Hierophant externally. Really kind of walking the talk and being someone who really is a higher level even than an emperor of the emperor and empress can embody all four of the kings and queens, and having learned all those lessons in the four suits of the deck. But then maybe the emperor and the empress is really more connected in with yourself, intuitively. And then it's kind of like being a spiritual leader in the world. And again, maybe even less, not like people wouldn't have their jobs and their friendships, but more trusting that the divine has a plan for your life. And it's like the divine leaves you these little breadcrumbs for you to follow. And part of that's your intuition, and you follow it. Synchronicities. So what some people don't see coming is that going through this process really connects them in a lot more with their intuition, because the High Priestess also is Cancer and Pisces energy, to emotional water signs about love and having hope and faith and belief in your dreams and listening to your intuition. Other people could see you doing that. They don't know how you did it. And the way you did it was you wanted to disconnect from harnessing this energy from a more worldly, shadowy way, because it kind of kept you in friendship or relationship with some people who harnessed it in a more worldly, shadowy way. And I kind of mentioned somewhere here in the midst of all this talking. The shadowy energy can be about trying to manipulate people. That's like shadowy Leo. I'm not going to harness high vibe Leo and be authentic and open and loving. I am going to try to maybe create the illusion of being that in order to manipulate you. um, so, shadowy energy can be about all trying to create this illusion about the type of person some people are. Some of those people can see you kind of moving forward, maintaining your balance, not trying to manipulate people, not trying to control people, offering people truth and love to see if people want to move forward with you. And those people have their own fears about doing that because it could just, you kind of maintaining more balance within yourself could kind of highlight to other people that they feel more out of balance, and then they can kind of get in their ego about it, or afraid that you'll kind of see they're more out of balance, or they are more immature or like to manipulate and control people or whatever. Some shadowy people in your life don't know how you're doing it, but they think you're putting on a really good illusion, and they wonder how they could create an illusion like that. The thing is, you're not creating an illusion. You really did the work. You really dealt with the truth. You really healed. You are not being manipulated more by your ego nature. You have invested in detaching from that more worldly, egoic view of life. You've worked through some of your regrets of the past, and you've kind of detached from an old layer of way of living life and viewing life. And you've worked through not to harness that energy in a more worldly, shadowy way. What is it? The Queen of Cups, which is really kind of interesting because I view the Queen of Cups as Scorpio energy. Which part of Scorpio energy can be, we all repeat patterns in our life until we see the truth. And when we kind of go through a phase of life, and we go through that phase of life, have certain things, I definitely went through it in my life, but where it seems like it's the same kind of situation that seems to happen with some certain significant people in your life. And it's like, why the fuck? You know? And partly it can be, you can be loving people. Well, we can be loving people, but in kind of an imbalanced way, but we don't want to see the truth of it. You can be very loving and giving and nurturing and supportive, and sometimes you're in relationships with people who are like, that's great. That's not really who I am, but yeah, I want to be in a relationship or a friendship with you. And you kind of are loving to a fault, where you keep trying to heal a relationship almost no matter what those people do. And you could do that. And then it's like, I need to see the truth. I get the feeling like if I were to quit investing in this and I were to become independent of it, and I wasn't the one putting in more of the work and effort to make it just and fair and balanced and keep it moving forward, I don't even know if it would move forward. And partly we don't want to let it go. So that's why we could keep putting work and effort into it. Well, why? That's not a just and fair and balanced relationship. Aren't we equally supposed to put work and effort to make it work? And also, could have been more codependent, could have been uh, more willing to kind of make your life about other people's lives. But then when you kind of want to have it more balanced and invest in yourself and invest in your own dreams, well, then those people don't like it. Well, you used to make it more about me, you know? And we can have children. It's like when they were children, we made our life a lot more about them. Well, then even when they get older, it's kind of like they don't want that phase of life to end. It's like, well, that was part of the phase of life. I still love you, still want to be in friendship or relationship with you, but I don't want to keep having this relationship dynamic like you're a more codependent 8 or 15-year-old when you're like 30. I do have some of my own dreams and aspirations that I would like to put more time and energy into. And then they can be like, oh my gosh, like you're abandoning me. And same way with people that we're in relationship with. Well, it used to be just more about me. Well, I don't like it that you want to have your own things more. I liked it when you used to make it all just more about me. So people can get spoiled in a relationship. People get spoiled in a friendship. Oh, I don't really have to put work and effort into it. They love me, and yeah, I could love them. But if and then it's like people kind of feeding their ego off of the fact that you kind of keep chasing after them to keep maintaining the relationship. The thing that some of those people don't know is that it kind of reminds me, you see those YouTube videos about when an empath detaches from a narcissist or leaves a relationship, that can be when it's really done. Because the people who are offering truth and love and encouragement, they know they gave absolutely everything they could have in a high vibe energy. I wasn't trying to manipulate you. I wasn't trying to control you. I was offering truth and love to work together with you in a just and fair way. And apparently, you needed more. That wasn't enough. You wanted me to put an end to equally investing in me. It had to keep being more and more about you. And even though I didn't want to leave, that's asking too much. With free will, something has to be sacrificed. And some of those people weren't willing to sacrifice being a little bit more about them to be a little more just and fair. And eventually you couldn't stay in denial of the truth of it anymore. And though you had love for them, I'm not doing that anymore. Thank you for showing me the truth that you will take advantage and try to manipulate and control people who love you and have love for you. Whether, again, you're my adult child, brother, sister, mom, dad, longtime friend, or romantic interest. And I don't want to be in relationships with people who are like that. And I'm going to pick up my investment in you. And I'm going to move forward with the people in my life who are willing to let me be me, like I am willing to let them be them. And we don't try to control and manipulate each other. And we're loving and encouraging and supportive to each other to keep moving forward and shedding old layers of ourselves. What's coming up for the people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Libra energy that they don't see coming? Kind of funny how it was a little opposite. Up here, the bottom card was not showing itself. Here, the top card isn't showing itself. Why? Because of the Page of Cups. So, the way I would interpret this is that for some people in our life, emotionally, they're either immature or emotionally, they're more in their Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio emotional nature. They're more worldly, shadowy emotional nature is more in control of their life. That's what they're more emotionally invested in. But we can always have people who are kind of on the opposite side of this world of duality from us. And they could have people in their life who are being authentic in all three of their water sign energies. They have hope and faith and belief and love. But because the shadowy people haven't healed, and they're still more about themselves or these things they indulge in or make the things of the world more important, kind of tipped out of balance, some other people in their life who have wanted to keep moving forward with them, hoping maybe things would change, is what the Death card can talk about. That we could have this new beginning, kind of put some of these old ways of being behind us. Some of the more high vibrational people in their life are going to work through the truth of this card and see the truth that some of these more worldly, shadowy people don't want people to see. What is it? The Queen of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles can be, again, it's a feminine figure, so it can talk about how people think and feel, regardless of if they're a male or a female. That emotionally, some people are more emotionally invested in being about themselves or these things of the world or the things they indulge in. It's not really love. They don't want to emotionally, they reject emotionally investing in truth and love. Or wanting to grow and mature the relationship emotionally. Or possibly get married. Get in a more formal commitment. And some of the people in their life who know their worth and value, I deserve justice. And I have a dream. And if this is not your dream, and you haven't worked through your fears or your insecurities or being more about yourself or more about the world or wanting to be in it, but more for these reasons of the world, that's not why I want to be in it. And some of those people, even though they don't want to, their intuition is telling them their dream is not going to come into reality with these people because that's not their truth. And they decide to stand up for themselves and pick up their investment in them. Why? Because the people in their life emotionally invested in emotionally growing and maturing themselves, not willing to stay in a job, friendship, or relationship more out of codependency or more for want of being in a relationship or a friendship or a job, when it's not more just, fair, based on truth and love, whatever the requirements would be, or where people are treating people in a more just and fair way, if it's a job. And I think the shadowy people are always in their ego that other people healed, weren't willing to give up their dreams, weren't willing to invest in their more worldly, egoic view of life like they did. And the more shadowy, worldly people aren't willing to quit investing in that way of living life. So they're kind of like, well, damn, that's too bad. It would have been great. It would have been great for you to stay in this job, this friendship, or this relationship. You just had to make it more about staying in it for these reasons. And kind of whatever manipulates me or people in my life, you'd have to let them manipulate you too. Or my fear, or my ego, or my immature nature. And some people are like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then odds are the shadowy people will keep investing in the people in their life who do keep indulging them in whatever way of living life they live life. Which again, it can be, it can make it sound so awful, but it's just like when we were living life from 21 to 25, and then some people are like, I don't think I want to keep out hanging out doing that anymore. I'm kind of looking at the next phase of my life. This was a stage. I kind of want to distance myself from some of that behavior because it's not getting me anywhere. Was it fun while it lasted? Yeah. But I have a dream. And so now I'm going to start putting in work and effort to cultivate the life that I envision for myself, being more like a 25 to 30-year-old. And while they're doing that, some other people keep being like a 21 to 24-year-old, right? And, everybody can be like, bum, they're not hanging out anymore. And, oh, we had such a good time. It's like, oh, I'm glad you had a good time. And there's parts of us that can be sad. And sometimes with some of the people in our life where it's just friendships, we do kind of hang out with them here and there. But generally, do I want to keep making that my life? No, because otherwise at 30, that will still be my life. And I kind of want things to be a little different because my intuition could be telling me, though I could love those people and love indulging in some of those things, I need to focus more of my attention on the next part of the dream. Just like some people could have a more demanding job that requires them they can't stay out till 12 or 1 and be hungover at work. Or some people go to college, and some people don't, and it can be all over on the spectrum. But if the high vibe people quit, keep kind of not working through their issues, the more high vibrational people in their life kind of distance themselves from them. And there'll always be other people, just like with all of us, we can have different people that want to come in our life. It's just that they could get in relationships more so and surround themselves by other people who make whatever those things are more important to them too. Some people like a more codependent relationship and they're looking for a more codependent relationship. I want to find someone who hasn't healed, who doesn't believe in themselves, who doesn't even make good decisions in their life. By default, I will look like a shining star in comparison to them. Or I really am more about the ego and the image and the money. And when I have people who are more just and fair and balanced, where I could, if I had some hope and faith and belief and keep putting in work and effort, I could manifest my own stability and abundance with them because we're loving and encouraging and creative and inspired with each other. And we're motivated, it's balanced. But some people are like, well, I don't know if I'll have it or those things will work out. So I'm going to go try to get in a relationship with someone. I'm going to give up my dreams of love because I'm so caught up in these things of the world that I'm afraid I won't have. And then they go kind of get in relationships with people who are happy they're in that energy. And some of those people could maybe invest in them. They might look like a boss. They might look like they have all these things of the world. But do they have love? Or it's like, oh, it's not really about that dream. We offer very little to each other. It's kind of more maybe emotionally shallow and superficial. It's more about the ego and the image and the status. And other people are going to have more deep, meaningful, balanced, loving relationships. I don't need all the money. I don't need all the status. I don't need all the image. I don't need it to be all about me. Uh, you don't need it all about you. High vibe, Two of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorn energy is represented by the devil. High vibe people are free to live their more authentic life because they work through these issues to free themselves from things that used to manipulate them. And so they're free to live their more authentic life and keep growing to their full potential because they have less things that manipulate them. And some of the shadowy people will keep being codependent on the things or people in their life or their ego or whatever that keeps manipulating them. So there you go, Libra. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.